just buckle up here because we found a video. It's a viral video that's going crazy right now on TikTok, especially of a young lady who's, in my mind, she's just telling the truth. Take a look here, guys.
I do not look feminine with natural hair. Then coupled with the fact that the hair doesn't grow as fast, no. Some women have the confidence, they have the beauty to be able to pull off a short natural. I do not. I do not. And I think most Black women do not. They do not. And for a lot of, I know me, I feel prettier with wigs or straight hair. I feel prettier. I feel more feminine with hair, wearing hair that mimics another race of people. And I know that's a shame. And I know that's some internalized self-hate. But listen, my eyes aren't fooling me. I don't look, okay? I don't look that good in any style. But definitely when my hair looks what it looks like, natural.
And let me clarify very quickly here, Kristin, because I want to be sure I'm clear on this particular point. When I say telling the truth, I don't mean my opinion about it. I definitely mean what a lot of women are saying about their own hair. Essentially, she's going on to say what she believes about women having long hair, and a lot of women are responding with what they believe is actually the truth about this.
Black women do not have long hair. They do not have long natural hair. Black hair does not grow. It does not grow at the same speed as other races. If you are one of the unicorns where you can cut your hair one day and in 2 months or 3 months you got inches, you know you're a rare breed. When we cut our hair, that's it. It's going to take a little while for it to grow. Damage or undamaged. Drinking water or not drinking water. Why do you think one of the major ways to make money is to sell Black women growth oils? Even from Madam C.J. Walker to right now, you want to make a quick buck, sell a growth oil. Our hair does not grow like that.
Now you can go on TikTok and see hundreds of videos of women doing this exact same thing, and I love it. Mm-hmm. It's so beautiful to see. But Kristin, before I get into my thoughts and we can go back and forth, please don't be afraid to disagree with your boy. Tell me your thoughts on what you hear this lady say.
The first video, her saying she doesn't look right or she doesn't feel she looks beautiful. First of all, she is. And I don't understand why people don't feel feminine. You know, it's your hair and it's growing out your head. You're a female if you got long hair, if you got short hair, if it's natural, if it's straight. If that's the real issue, you know, don't just get up out the bed and, you know, leave with a nest on top of your head. You know, put your makeup on. Like, there's some application that you have to put into it, some work, just to be presentable. So I don't think that has anything to do with natural hair. That's just grooming yourself in particular. So those are really my thoughts. And then, of course, her mentioning that you can't have long hair and natural hair. The lady in the video was like, she had that wrap. So I know about the wrap before I got locked up. But, you know, this is the longest my hair has ever been. And it's because I'm natural. And it's because it's just so easy, low maintenance. You know, it's a freedom lifestyle. So not worrying about your hair, it just lets it grow because you're not manipulating it as much. So I have to disagree with her as well.
Yeah. And I appreciate you saying that, and I get it in totality. However, I just want to ask, like, is she saying the quiet part out loud? Because we know where the weave and just wig industry is right now, you know, overall, but specifically the way it affects the Black community. And so I'm asking, is this? And she mentioned Madam C.J. Walker, and we could talk about the way it is now, but this has always been the case. You know, going back to that time, you know, for those who are not aware, Madam C.J. Walker is known as the first female self-made millionaire in America. She made her fortune thanks to her homemade line of hair care products for Black women specifically, and essentially it was a perm. What do you say to someone, Kristin, that is saying like she's just saying what other Black women are afraid to say?
I've heard a lot of ladies say that. When I tell them I'm a loctician and they say, oh, I'm not ready for that commitment. They're not ready for going natural. And of course, they're definitely not ready for locks. So It's a preference. If they don't feel like that's what they like, then that's on them what they want to do with their own hair that grows out their own head. But I mean, I have my preference. Of course, now I love natural hair. I love locks. There's no way I'm going back to the creamy crack, as you hear people say. But that's what makes it easier for some people if they feel like they don't want to manage their relaxed hair, if they don't even want to manage their not relaxed hair, their natural hair.
For sure. So when you think of that preference that you mentioned, I imagine you being a loctician and a beautician overall, you having these conversations, daily, and you having them in your chair. Some of the most vulnerable places you can be is in the chair of someone that's caring for you. Even for a barber, it's an amazing experience to just open up. I'm like, man, this dude's a therapist almost. What are some of the things you're hearing when they say, hey, I just can't do it? Like, what are the reasons that they're saying that?
One of the reasons, and this is really based off of the type of clientele I have, a lot of them are professional. So that was what stopped them from getting locks, is they felt like they could not enter into the workforce and be accepted with their natural hair, how it is. And of course, we have people who have locks, they're professional. And I see so many photo shoots, and, that's something I'm wanting to get into. It's just really highlighting how locks can be professional, and you're not Medusa, or who is that lady that?
Yeah, Medusa. Medusa.
Like, no, it's not that. Like, this is modern. We are in 2024, and like these locks are thriving, and they're just as manageable and versatile as straight hair these days. You can style them. You can just do so much with them. You can put them in an updo. I know a lot of people who were in the military, and so that was also a something that would deter them. But they're making all types of leaps and bounds, even in the career force with natural hair.
Yeah, and I heard that, and that's a beautiful thing. And I think that's you have the Crown Act that recently passed that maybe contributed to that, and also we're just kind of changing as a society, for slowly but surely. We get to a point that we've been more acceptable of other cultures. And, I don't want to make this an all-out debate, but I do just want to ask questions because, this is something I'm very interested in, because I do care about the image of the Black family, and I do care of just the overall health of the Black family, especially when it comes to mental health. So we talk about, the things like the European standard of beauty, and we talk about, the HR department saying, there's only certain hairstyles you can have and things of that nature. But I find it more often that the first time that any Black child hear anything negative about themselves is typically in their own home, typically from their mother. The first time people hear, a woman hears about your hair being nappy, it's from your mother. And we actually, you look it up, the term nappy was not a derogatory term at one point or another. We got a propensity in the Black community to turn negative terms to something positive, but this is a positive term we turn negative. So what are your thoughts on that, just overall? Like, is it true that, in your view, that sometimes we hear, or actually the majority of the time we hear negative feedback from our family members regarding our own hair?
It's true. It is very true. And we grew up and it was old school. So, your parents, they didn't understand natural hair. And because really I went natural in college because I just was done with it. But like, even when I got my locks, and, we all understand the different phases, you're going to have that pluck chicken phase at first where your hair is very scalpy, and you have to be okay with that whole process. Cause this is over 5 years of my hair being locked. When I first got locked, they didn't look great. So I chose those locks because I knew that's what I wanted, not for anybody else. But when I first got my locks, I had already kind of been showing my mom, and so she knew what to expect. But when I went to my granny's house, she didn't say anything. She always had something to say, but she just stared at me like I was an alien with boogers hanging out my nose or something. She was not feeling those locks. And I remember my aunt, on the other hand, when I told her I'm getting locks, because for a long, long time I would wear that puff ponytail, so I would like gel it back, and it would be very neat, very professional, and it'd just be a big ponytail, but I would kind of pack it and mold it and scold it just right. So I was really neat even when I had my afro. So when I was telling my favorite aunt about it, she said, well, you're interviewing. What are you gonna do? Don't you still want a job? Like, I'm just gonna be like not have no job and be homeless because I decided to get locked. So I'm like, they take it to the extreme. So when I saw my grandma, I think about 3 or 4 years after my hair had really started locked, she said, I like your hair. It's really nice. And I had to remind her, me and my mom was like, remember how you acted right when I got that establishment? And, of course, they got selective memory.
You're right.
So yeah, it's a lot of parents, family members don't understand. And then they watch that journey and it's like, oh, then when they start talking about getting locks, it's like, okay, you're on board now.
You won them over.
I know parents who, like I have a client and she is 7 years old, but her mom locked her. And because she just didn't want to manage her hair, but instead of perming her, she locked her. Me, on the other hand, when I was a kid, I don't know why, and I think I went to, for the most part, it was a predominantly white school. And so I begged my mom to perm my hair. And I asked my mom, I'm like, why did you do that? Well, you just kept asking. I said, you didn't give me nothing else I asked for. So relax her. So right. It's funny looking back, but I was like, that is too young for a perm. But you know how the culture is Easter Sunday, you got to wear your dresses and you're going to have to either get the hot comb or the relaxer.
Absolutely. That's 100% true. I mean, I remember the days of definitely perms. My mama did perms early for my sisters. I have 3 sisters, 2 younger. And I remember my 2 younger, they maybe 4. Well, it would have to be like 6 and 2 or 7 and 3 because we all like 4 years apart. I'm seeing them with like the pushback, your hair pushed back and then got the clip of weave on the back. I don't know what it's called,
Oh, like the ponytail?
Like a ponytail, but it's like the big weave, the big curly, I don't know what number that is. I'm just saying. But I went to my mama one time and said, Mama, these are little girls. Like, where the barrettes at? Where the ribbons at? What I had to check on that, and she just did not want anything to do with doing their hair more often than not. And then I remember I had girlfriends. I had my sophomore year. I had a girlfriend that she was natural, and she had the big chop or whatever. So my mom called her little bitty hair. Like every time she came to the house, she called a girl little bitty hair. I'm like, hold on now.
That was her nickname? That was her nickname?
That was her nickname. So,
wow.
Needless to say, the girl didn't last long. So it's just the way it is. But anyway, the point is, it's just the culture that I grew up in. And I think my house represented a lot of houses I knew about, that the culture was, natural hair was not the standard. And so what is this wave looking like for you, especially the new wave that is happening, especially with your clients, with the professionals? What are they saying is the biggest push that has them leaning more towards their natural hair?
It was COVID. Like a lot of people that just were apprehensive when COVID hit. I was establishing back to back to back. Like, so my stepmom, she did. A lot of these people are work from home people. So she was working from home. And I completely shut down and stopped doing hair for, the shutdown here. And she reached out to me because I had been trying to get her to get locks because her hair I just knew it would be perfect for it. And I told her, I said, it's Mother's Day. And I said, I'm not working. So you might want to come get your locks now while I don't have any clients. So she traveled to me and I put her locks in. And I know now she's regretting that she didn't do it any sooner. But a lot of people were getting established during the pandemic just because it's like they had their sweats on and they didn't want to be bothered with doing their hair anymore. So it was perfect for me. Like it was a blessing in disguise. A lot of people accepting their natural hair, and then they knew they wouldn't have to return back to the workforce, so they could get through that little ugly phase, as we call it, and they got full natural locks by the time they're back at work.
Right. I love it, and that definitely turned a corner for a lot of people. Like even with divorce rates, and thing I talk about often with divorce, some people talked about how it would increase uh, based on the fact that we were home a lot during the pandemic, but it actually decreased. When they look back at it, it decreased. I think people start to take in more self-solution resolutions, basically finding ways to be more self-sufficient, I should say.
Mhm.
And natural hair and locks is one of those ways, and that's a beautiful thing.
Let's go.